Hey guys, welcome back to the Quick Speed Shop. I'm Josh, and we're back on the Dodge once again. Last time, if you watched, I had this thing out running around and dialed in the carburetor, dialed in the timing, and it's still got some drivability issues mid stream here, which I'm thinking might be a power valve or might be jetting or something. I got up on top off camera and I revved it up, and it seems to be dribbling fuel out of the boosters at a high rate of too much fuel, I think, in the primaries. Mid-throttle and making it run rich. So I hooked up a vacuum gauge off camera. I'm not going to run the truck right now because I got the door closed because it got cold out again for some reason. But when it runs at idle, it's got 20 inches of manifold vacuum right here. And I'm trying to figure out what power valve to use. I think I might have a power valve issue because the carburetor did backfire when I first got it running. And this is a little bit older Holley and might not have power valve protection, I'm not sure. And maybe a power valve could make it glug fuel midstream. But we're going to pull this off. I want to pull the front of the bowl off. It's a 600 vacuum secondary Holley. And see what the jets are. I'm going to get a gasket kit with a new blue gasket so you can take the thing apart multiple times. I want to put a 9.5 power valve in it. It might have like a 6.5 or something in it now. Because that's probably usually what they put in. And with such high manifold vacuum, I really don't need much of a power valve. I need a little bit stronger one because it's got so much vacuum. So a smaller number, I think, if I understand it correctly, can open faster. So I want to open a little bit less, get a little bit less fuel going through there. So we're going to pull that off. This is just, like I said, a vacuum secondary 600. It's just got the one fuel inlet and hooks the rear bowl. There's no rear metering block. It just got a front metering block. It's just a basic 600 CFM electric choke carburetor. So be working on that. Other than that, the truck seems to be doing good. It drives good. We drove down to town. Last time I ran out of gas. That was fun. I've still got my exhaust system hooked up. I threw on these pipe extensions and I run out the door and I'm running it like a dyno. Wish I hadn't built a truck that was so high up in the air because it's hard to reach anything. Hoop. Luckily the front bumper sticks way out so I can kind of like kneel on that. What do we got here? Throttle springs. These Dodges have a return line in the fuel filter, so hopefully there won't be a bunch of pressure on this line. There we go. Yeah, that return line works nice. It takes the fuel right back. All right. Vacuum line for the gauge. Unhook that. Let's see. Vacuum line for the distributor. Oops. Unhook that. Okay, I got the carburetor off and set it in this pan here to get the gas out. One thing I noticed when I tip it, if you guys can see it, I've got fuel leaking out of the boosters, which maybe it's supposed to do. I'm trying to dump it out here. Maybe it's supposed to do that. I'm going to cycle my accelerator pump. Try to pump the bowl dry as much as I can. You can take these apart on the vehicle, but, you know, and you leak gas all over the place. There's a lot of gas in the bowl. Man, there's a lot of gas in... Okay, she's starting to pump down to nothing here. Now, the first question I had was... Here we go, and just pour it out of the vents. The first question I had was about power valve, and these newer these Holley carburetors are supposed to have power valve protection. I believe this hole here is a hole that feeds vacuum to the power valve, and there should be a little ball bearing in there, or check valve in there, and usually you can see it. I don't see it in this one. So I had a backfire through the carburetor. Could have easily blown out my power valve. That's why I was questioning during the drivability video when the richness, I was questioning that because the newer, after like 92, I think Holley put a check ball in there, but I don't see it in the hole. So that's going to be my first thing I want to look at. Here, if we can get all the gas dumped out of this thing. All right, let me set her down. Let me get rid of this gas real fast. 5/16, here we go. Now, I don't have any gaskets or nothing. I didn't order any parts for this right yet because I want to see the power valve and I want to see the jets. I might get a jet kit for this, and depending on what jets are in the primary, I might jet it down a little bit. This is, like I said, a rebuilt carburetor that I bought from somebody. There's a date code on top here that's either 86 or 98, I'm not sure. But when it got rebuilt, the guys might have taken the check valve out of the power valve hole, or the BB, or if it's an earlier carburetor, it's not going to have it. And when I had that backfire during tuning, I could easily have blown out the power valve, which would cause fuel glugging and everything else. So that's what I think might have happened. So this fuel bowl should come off of here. Woo! And this is a, oops, this is a single fuel. Here's the power valve here. Here's our gasket. I'm going to order the blue gaskets, which are reusable. Is there any goo in the face of the carburetor? No, I'm going to set that there. This should come off of here. Woo! Easy. All right, here you can see our fuel bowl with our float, our needle and seat, and our spring. Yeah, there's a date in there of either 86 or 98. I can't tell which way is up. But we're going to set that guy there. I already checked the float level on the truck with a sight glass, and it was good. This is the power valve here. These are the jets. Where are the numbers for the jets? They're probably... Oh my goodness. 60... The jet number is there. I think that says 62. It's either that or 70 something. I gotta get the screwdriver, pull one of the jets out. I just want to look, where'd the screwdriver go? How could that be gone? Is it over here? Oh, we had a really nice screwdriver. Now it's vanished. I've located it. Snap-on screwdriver. Let's take this jet out. I'm curious. Oops. What jet we got here? Okay, that says 62. Right there, you see the... Are you focusing? I can't tell if you're focusing. Can you focus? Right there. Focus. Anyway, 62. Which I think is kind of small for a 600. I thought they said they came with like 66s stock. Had to go to my big wrench. Looks like it's a 1-inch. There we go. Now I wonder what the number is on this one. I see some numbers, but I don't know where they go. All right. Can't tell. Okay, this is a 65. 65, which is the standard power valve. But I think I can get away with a bigger one. I don't know really how to test this. But what it does is it moves in and out with vacuum signal and opens and closes and allows fuel to go through these two holes here. And then they go somewhere. I think that's how it gets to the boosters. But it also appears like it had 2 gaskets on it. That's curious. Anyways, this is a 6.5. I'm going to order a 9.5 because I have such high manifold vacuum, and it will pull in at a different rate. And maybe that is one of our problems. And like I said, I think I might upsize the jets just a little bit. Maybe it's pulling too much fuel because it was having a lean surge, and then it was trying to pull fuel in by this and fighting with it. So I think I want to go back to like 60, 64, 66 jets that this 600 should have had stock on the primary, and then go from there. All right, it's a couple days later. Summit Racing came in a big way. I got my reusable Holley gaskets, and I bought some jets. I got this 10-pack. It goes from 60 to 69, and then I also got the power valve, 9.5 power valve. So now we can go ahead and get our Holley here rejetted and put the new power valve in it. Put our blue gaskets in, our reusable gaskets. Take my bowl, I'll set my bowl over here. Take our metering plate. See, the gaskets are the line up there good. So we should be good to go there. First thing I'll do, let's thread out the power valve. Remember, this is a 6.5, and I did the math with my, with the initial vacuum at 20 inches of mercury. Divide by 2, go down half a size. So I got 20 divided by 2 is 10, go down half size to 9.5. So we have a 9.5 power valve here. Or does it say 9.5? So we're going to go ahead and throw this guy in. It's just that easy. Boom. Get that guy mounted up. Now to the jets. They have a jet tool, which I don't have, but I've got this big flat blade screwdriver with a nice tip that does it. These are 62s we're going to take out of here. I read online on the interwebs that a 600 should have like 64 to 66 jets. Something like that. I'm going to go in the middle since I got this kit. It has 62 to 69. 60 to 69. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to put 65s in it. We're going to start there because it's halfway between what the internet says and what other people have said on the internet. It said between 64 and 66. So I'm going to go ahead and put 65s in it just because I can. This is a really nice kit from Holley. Comes with an anodized aluminum holder there. And the jets are on the side, 64, there's 65. But it's also got room to put your old jets next to it. So we're going to go 60, 61, 62. I'll put these 62s on here next to the other 62s. So I'll hang on to those guys. This is awesome, by the way. Look at that. And I'll come down here. Just got to look 64, 65. We're going to put these guys in. And we'll try it out with the 65s. But now with our reusable blue gaskets from Summit Racing, we can dial it, take it apart as many times as we want, in theory, with our reusable gaskets. So we'll go ahead and I believe the numbers 60, 62, 65, I believe that's thousandths of an inch of the jet diameter is what I believe that is. So we're going to go ahead and put the 9.5 power valve in with the 65 thousandths jets. Is that 65? Can't see nothing. Yep, 65. And by the time we get all this done, it's going to be late at night, so I can't really fire it up tonight. But I love this Holley jet plate. That's pretty awesome. So we got those guys going. I believe there's 4 gaskets altogether. This would be like for a double pumper setup where you have front and rear metering blocks. So there's going to be two metering plate gaskets and 2 fuel bowl gaskets. But since we only have 1 metering block and we've only taken the front bowl off, we only need 1 set of gaskets here. So this guy, I'm just going to go ahead and stick him right on the carburetor like that. Or actually, does it go? Yeah, there's some locating pins on the back. And these gaskets actually are probably, this carburetor was brand new, so those are probably almost brand new, but we're going to go ahead and use our reusable gasket just like that on the back. Boom. Might as well set this right on the carburetor where it goes. Okay. Pull off our brown paper gasket in the front. And use one of our new blue gaskets. Come on out of there. So there we go with that. So now we can take our fuel bowl. You want to watch your lever on your accelerator pump. Make sure that is down like this. And I'm going to spin the carburetor around so I can get to it. Okay. Got our metering plate on. So I get the dowel pins lined up. Boom. All right, it's the next day. Everything's put back together. I want to start the truck and see what we got. I've still got my vacuum gauge hooked up here. I'm going to leave that hooked up for a second. But I think we should be all set. It's going to take a second to start because there's no gas in the carburetor and it's cold in here and the choke is wired open. But let me crank it and see what happens. Got to get that gas primed up in there. What in the world? That was like, that's terrible. That's like full rich. What is going on with this thing? Why in the world? went and watched some more action on the old computer. I made a mini mistake with this 9.5 power valve. They said to set it half of your idle vacuum, which was 20 on my gauge, so I went 9.5. but as soon as the vacuum gets down to like 9.5, it opens the power valve. I didn't understand that part of it. So originally it's had a 6.5. So if I'm getting too much fuel, I probably wanted to go to like a 4.5. And I also increased the jet size, which didn't help. So then I think it immediately opened the power valve, which glugged all the fuel and had a bigger jet size. So I'm going to start it now. I've got the fuel line unplugged, and these Dodges have a return line, so I'm hoping to run it and suck the fuel out of the fuel bowl, but not blow this bolt out of the fuel hose, because I think it'll pump it and go back down the return line if it can't pump fuel into the carburetor. We're going to watch that real fast. You guys watch it. I'll watch it through the hood. But I want to suck this thing down. I'm going to pull the bowl off. We're going to pull that 9.5 power valve out. I have a Holley 750 double feed 750 vacuum secondary, which I didn't really want to run on this because I don't think this truck needs a 750. Like a 670 would probably be best, but the 600, I want to change the power valve back out. I really wish I had like a 4.5 power valve. I went the wrong way, and I thought about taking the 6.5 out of the other carburetor just to check, but maybe. I mean, this carburetor had 62 jets in it, and I went to 65s, and everybody says the 600 should have a 65 in it. Maybe this isn't a 600 carburetor for some reason. It had 62s in it. Or maybe, I don't know what's going on. I bought it from these guys. I could put the 750 on, but the fuel, it's got the dual fuel pipe, which I think, I'll probably still hook up to this. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the 9.5 power valve out. And I think we're going to take a big swing at it. We're going to put a 6.5 in it that I have over here. All right, I'm pretty sure I just figured out what was going on here. I took the 6.5 power valve out of that 750 and I put it in the carburetor, and I was going to go back down to like 60 or 62 jets because I'm like, it had 62s in it. And when I read the numbers, it was in the carburetor, and I thought I could see them. I thought it said 62. They were upside down. They're 79s. Somebody put 79 jets, because look at the size. I don't know if you can tell here. See the size of the jet there versus the 62s I put it next to? That's the problem. It had huge jets in it, is why it ran super rich. Somebody put like secondary jets in there. 79s are huge. So I had 65s, but the problem was I put that 9.5 power valve in there, which made the power valve open really fast. So I'm going to go back to the 6.5 power valve. I'm going to take the one out of the 750. I'll buy another new power valve, and I might buy a couple of power valves because they're like $14 a piece. I'll probably buy like a 4.5 and a 6.5 just to have them. But that's the problem. These jets are 79s, not 62s. I read them wrong, because upside down they look like 62. So now it's got me questioning, do I want to... 79s is huge. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put 64s in it. We're going to split the difference. I'm going to put 64s in it just for guessing. But with the different power valve, they say like 64 to 66. That's why I said, do I want to put the 65s back in it and go in the middle? Because the power valve opening fast would... Yeah, it was super rich though. It was super rich. I'm going to put 64s in it. I'll put 64s in it now. We'll put it back together, try it, and see. I think that is going to be one of the... That's why it ran so bad. Those jets are huge. Look at them. You can see the difference. All right, let's try this again. I got 64 jets in here. I hooked everything back up. It should start. I put the 6.5 power valve in there out of the other carburetor, so I'm going to guess that hopefully that's good. Oops, I got some fuel on the back bowl. I'm hoping that cured everything. Let's start it again and see what we get here. This should be 1,000 times better. All right, the engine's cold, so probably got to let it warm up for a minute. It's got it off idle stumble now. So I think now I got a baseline to go from. I'm not a Holley carburetor expert by every stretch of imagination. You saw me make the mistake with the power valve, but when you get in it, the vacuum goes away some. So it was opening the power valve. We see when I put the 65 jets in it with the 9.5 power valve, it opened the power valve way too soon and like glugged it full rich, like immediately full rich, because it was glugging that a power valve adds like another 10 jet sizes. So it was going like trying to go like 65s, like bleh, right off the bat, 75 or whatever. So my original problem with it running rich all the time was the 79s that somebody put in the primary. So I had it to idle good and it had good power because it had plenty of fuel, but then it was just like rich all the time, like a lot. I've got to let it cool all the way down. I guess I can do the rag trick again, get the fuel bowl off. And I'm going to try like probably, if it's this stumbly, now, it's not real bad, but a little stumbly. I'm going to put 66s in it probably. You got 64s in now. I'm going to go 2 jet size. I'm going to go to 66 and try that. All right, the engine cooled down and I changed jets. I got 66s in it now, which is about what the 600s call for. All right, this seems to be working good here. The engines had cooled down to like 150, so it's got just a tiny little bit of bog, but not real bad. When I held it up to like 4,000 RPM, it was super clean. I held it to like 2,500 clean. It wasn't like missing and stuff, so I think we can pull the tailpipes off and take this thing for a, maybe back it out the door, take it for a spin down the way. I'm gonna crank the idle and the mixture in just a little bit since I messed with it last time. About 20 inches of vacuum, 19.5, 20 at idle. That was getting into the secondaries, and it seems to be doing all right. I think I want to take it out and road test it now. Oh yeah. It got rid of that mid RPM bog that it had from my last driving video. That's way better. Way, way better. Well, pulled uphill in third gear. So that's good. Holy shamoly! It might be still a little bit lean in the primary because it went. Definitely runs a lot stronger than it did. 600 might be a little small for this engine actually, because it feels like it needs some more. I don't know. Yeah, I got the primary is still a little bit lean. It kind of lays on its face a little bit on the primaries, and you open the secondary, it really rips. So I got what 66s in it. Could probably put 67s maybe. I don't know if you guys can see the tack, because there might be a glare on it. It seems like it's got some good pickup. It's running about 185. definitely think it's still lean in the primary. It kind of like lays on its face, and you kick the 4-barrel open, it really starts to pull. It's running cool. It's running like 180, 185, 190. It doesn't really lean surge cruising, even lugging it. Can't really, it's getting too dark to look at the pipes and to look at. Yeah, I'll buy that 180, 190 for $1. It seems to be about that temperature. Do we puke any power steering fluid out? Whoa, she's right to the top, over full. So that might have puked a little bit, maybe. I can't really see. Definitely put some heat in at that time, but when I rev it up, when I revved it up here in the garage, it didn't really seem to blow a lot of black out. The pipes are still super black from running rich all those times. I should wipe them out and then see how we do. But when I was revving it up here, I could see it off here. It didn't seem super rich like it was before. We've gone down. But like I said, I think I could richen up the primary maybe another jet size or two, maybe put 68s in it, 67s or 68s, because it seems like, I don't want to say lazy, but it seems like it's rolling on the primary. It's like, rah, then you really open the second end, it's like, wah. But maybe I'll leave it like this for now and start driving it around, cruising it, see if there's any lean surging with it, cruising, see how it does temperature-wise. I'm going to change the oil right away now since I've had all this fuel glugging into the oil since I got it running. Change that out. I really don't like the oil pressure being that low at idle, but like I said, maybe the oil is thin. Put some new fresh oil in it, change the oil filter. This engine, because I just got it started up, needs to be drained out anyways. Kind of ruined the paint on the intake a little bit. I got to tighten up my throttle spring. It's a little loose and it wants to just be off idle just a little bit, so probably have to bend that bracket just a little bit, pull them in, pull just a little more tension on the throttle. But it didn't seem to pop and bang or like, act real crazy. That transmission, it's a truck transmission. That's super wonky. Like it's not a race transmission. So that's why I saw me in there, I was like, whoa, all over the place with it, because it's got a huge throw and it's like, truck transmission, not a car transmission. So I don't know. I think we're on the right path now. Those jets. Those old 79s that some guy put in there that I bought that carburetor from really screwed me. I'm glad I bought this jet plate. Like I said, I wouldn't have noticed that. I would have just thought, yeah, there's 62s. I don't understand. I wouldn't have noticed without having them side by side like that. You can see the difference. Without having them side by side, I wouldn't have noticed that. I would have been chasing my tail because I would be like, yep, there's 62s. I would have looked at them from the side like this probably. You would have saw, yep, it looks like 62 to me-ish. That's what it looked like upside down, and that really screwed me up. We would have not had to done the deal with the power valve and all that. So obviously the original power valve wasn't blown, it was just working and glugging fuel. So At least I got a 6.5 in there. Seems to be good. Like I said, doesn't have any big bogs. We just went for a ride, went for a rip. It really pulls on the secondaries. That's good. This truck ain't a race truck. I'm not going to beat on it like that, like shift it at 4,000 RPM. Normally, you know, like I'll get into it a little bit because it does sound kind of good. It's raspy going there, but like I said, laying into it right off the primary jets, what seemed like a little lazy. So maybe we could go up a jet size or two, but I also like to get some fuel economy cruising. It's not a race vehicle, so we'll see how it goes. Like if I'm pulling a trailer with it and it seems like it needs the fuel down low, I can easily up the jet sizes in the primary. This engine might do better, a little bit bigger, like a 670 Street Avenger or something maybe. It seems to like fuel and pull on the top end really good. Or like a 650, I don't have a spread bore manifold on this, but like a 650 spread bore or something where you had a real, like the original thermoquad spread bore, get tiny primaries for cruising, then really laying it. But anyways, it's not a hot rod, but I would like it to run good. We got horsepower on tap, and she did pull pretty good through $4,000 there a couple times. So we're really in the range now. So now I can start tinkering with some other things. I got to get like I said, I've got electrical issues in the dash. I said in the last video. You saw the dash lights weren't working. The fuel gauge doesn't work, even though I got a new sending unit. I got to get that going. At least I got water and oil temperature, or water temperature and oil pressure. Tack works, but I got to get my dash lights working. The horn doesn't work. Windshield wipers don't work. So at least it was a successful drive without running like garbage, finally. After I was chasing my tail, those stupid 79 Jets did it, man. I was chasing my tail with them, and I didn't notice it till just now. Like, chase my tail with the thing that explains why it ran like garbage, like where it did. Because it was just like idled fine, mixture's fine and idle, obviously, because it doesn't use the jets. As soon as I got into it, it's like, too much, and then like wide open it would come out of it. But mid-range, it was just like, you know, it was like opening a 4-barrel with no airflow at low RPM. It's just full on rich. Oh, we got the C10 out there. We're gonna start working on that too. Don't worry. We just picked up the C10. We're gonna start that, but I had to get this Dodge running. So now I can work on driving it, getting it dialed in, seeing where the leaks are and stuff like that. Shake it down some more, and that's it. Whew. I'm happy with this now. It runs pretty good. Runs pretty good now. I'm happy with it. So thanks for watching. What a doozy. Put the right jets in your carburetor and it'll run better. We'll see you next time. Sipping fuel, unless you're wah, wah, wah on it. Running around, terrorizing the neighbors at the Quick Speed Shop.